Yo, folks, good morning. How's it going today? It is Thursday, April 15th, and today is a very special day that I'm super excited for because it's Ink Day. I've been waiting for this for about a year now. Last year, in February, right before all of this stuff shut down, I got my first tattoo, which you're probably like, oh, that's no big deal. I have tons of tattoos. Well, this was my favorite. It's your first anything. It's exciting. It's interesting. It's new. It's still my only tattoo because, as you guys know, what happened immediately afterwards last year in March was that everything shut down. So I'll disrobe for you here. This is what I got on my arm. It was a deer skull with some holly, and I'd been wanting to get something like this for a while at the time, and I chose that because my dad was a pretty avid deer hunter. He liked my rock paper scissors table saw shirt, woodworker extraordinaire right there. I see we got three people watching right now. Feel free to say hi in chat there if you want. I'll give you your shout out or whatever. So anyway, back to it. I got the deer skull because my dad was an avid deer hunter, bow hunter. Really, really liked all aspects of, especially primitive archery. He was very, very in tune with that sort of stuff. In fact, I've got a lot of his old bows hanging up in the rafters here in the garage. And then the holly was for my wife because, she's her name's Natalie, and she's born around Christmas time or around New Year's. And so that was kind of a little nod to her, two important folks in my life. And I thought they kind of would go well together. So came in with the idea to the tattoo shop, and the guy I was working with, I'm going to give him a shout out in just a minute, but he, came up with some good artwork based on my idea. And then, we just went from there, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. We sat down and did the whole thing, the whole bit that I just showed you in one sitting. And I enjoyed it. And so what we were going to do is schedule a follow-up appointment for either a month or like 6 weeks out or sometime in April. So basically this time last year, we scheduled an appointment to go out and do all the background shading and kind of fill in the space. And I kind of wanted it as like a half sleeve, or at least the start of a half sleeve, maybe work into a full sleeve or something. So then we're going to do all the shading, and then everything shut down. COVID happened, everything shut down. They weren't able to do appointments for a long time, and really the longest time. And it was, oh man, a good 10 months or so before they were even able to start taking like piercing appointments, let alone anything more than that. But maybe sometime last month, they started sending out notices that, hey, they were starting to take appointments again. And so I jumped on that opportunity. I still had a deposit with them because, the intention was always to get the tattoo finished. And today is supposed to be, we'll keep fingers crossed that everything's going according to plan, supposed to be the day where I go in and get the rest of this finished and all the background shaded. And background shading doesn't seem like a big deal, but it really matters for artwork. Having a good background for a piece of art to stand out on is super important. And part of the thing is, whenever I teach art or artistic lessons, and students, they make a pretty picture, and I fall into this trap too. You make a pretty picture, and it's all nice, clean line work, and it's just standing out on its own. But there's no background. There's nothing in the background. And you look at it and you're like, I don't want to mess this up by adding more to it. But really, by putting a little bit of background, even if it's just some shading, even if it's just like a solid color behind that artwork, it makes it pop. It makes it stand out even more than if you just leave it alone, have it floating there in some plain white space. So the shading is actually really kind of an important bit for it. So I'm supposed to go in this afternoon, and we're scheduled for a few hours. I don't know how long it'll actually take, but I'm excited to get this thing done. Looking forward to it. It's going to be most of my afternoon. So what does this matter? What does this matter to education? What does this matter to woodworking? And, it really does, actually, because tattoos used to have, some of you guys know, especially older folks, that tattoos had a really powerfully negative stigma attached to them, especially in the workplace. Tattoos were something that, ruffians got. Ruffians. That bad people got, prisoners, sailors, and not that those are necessarily bad people, just people in certain situations, certain life situations. But that was the public perception. No respectable person is going to have tattoos. And then you started seeing people in the military getting tattoos, sailors and soldiers, they would get tattoos. And then, of course, they would come home, with the tattoos. And it was like, well, you aren't going to tell me that I'm a bad person. You aren't going to tell me what to do. I've got a tattoo. You deal with it, because that was just that kind of attitude. And then eventually over time, it became more acceptable for, as you got tattoos in the counterculture, and then it was exoticized. And then people would see other folks with tattoos and be like, oh man, I really like that tattoo. I really think tattoos are cool. I'd love to get one myself, but oh man, I couldn't. My job, my family, what would they think? But it became like romanticized, like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can just get a little tattoo, like in a place that no one's going to see, or, okay, well, maybe a couple little, maybe just a little one on my, and then it becomes like, oh, just a little one, like on my wrist or my ankle or, my back. And okay, maybe someone will see it if I'm, at the pool or something. But it'll be covered up the rest of the time. Like no one at work will see it. And then it sort of creeps. It just kind of grows. And people who have a lot of tattoos, I've had friends who've had lots of tattoos before, and they kind of say the same thing. It just kind of creeps on you. It just keeps growing. And before too long, you start seeing people in the mainstream, full mainstream, just full sleeves, chest tattoos, back tattoos, leg tattoos, neck tattoos. Now you're starting to see a lot of face tattoos. That is still a little bit quite in the extreme realm, and probably will be for some time. But I mean, you can even tell it's starting to creep in. And tattoos in the workplace they do not have the same stigma as they used to. It is extremely commonplace in the trades to see people with full sleeves or neck tattoos. You even see some tradespeople with some face tattoos. There've been a lot of programs in various trades where there've been like diversion programs for people either coming out of jail or prison, or diverting them from going to jail and prison. And so of course there's a lot of tattoos there. Those, if you want to get your life on track, you got a bunch of tattoos, you probably don't have the money to take them off if you even want to, but you got to get your life on track. You got to get a job, you got to get paid. And so, with things like employment shortages in certain sectors, employers are starting to be like, you know what, you're just going to be working in construction. You're just going to be working out here in the field. Like, no, we don't care if you've got tattoos. What people care more about these days is what you know and what you can do. And I like to also think that has had a lot to do in recent decades, at least since I was in high school, in the 20 years since I was in high school. God, I'm old. That it has become less and less acceptable to judge people on the way that they look. It really has. we have come a long way. I'm not saying that we're all the way there, that everything is perfect, and that there aren't situations where people get judged based on how they look, based on their weight, based on their age, based on the color of their skin, based on disability, imperfections, that sort of thing. I mean, that does happen, but it has come a long way in the last 20 to 30 years. Certain things have not have fallen out of favor as far as what's acceptable to make fun of other people, and generally it's not nearly as cool to make fun of people for their looks as it used to be, right? People get upset about that, when you make fun of other people for their looks. And so I believe, not scientifically or anything, but I believe that the acceptance of tattoos, especially visible tattoos, has really benefited from that sort of breaking down of visual stigma, visual taboo, sort of trying to think of the right word there. I think it's really, really benefited from that. And so now you've got doctors, lawyers, teachers. Oh, I know lots of teachers with tattoos. I'm not going to shout anyone out in particular because I didn't ask permission, but I've known some administrators with tattoos, vice principals, assistant principals with tattoos. It's common. It's not even like just one or two people. It's common. Doctors and lawyers with full sleeves. I mean, you see that sort of stuff, and it's not. I think we're at a point where appearances just don't matter as much. I mean, if you walk into court and you're all dressed down in loose baggy clothing that's all ripped and stained, and you're supposed to be the lawyer, that's a little different. You can dress presentably, with full body tattoos. You can look good. You can look sharp with full body tattoos. You put on a nice fit and you're good to go. But it's common nowadays to see visible tattoos in the workplace. I mean, still assuming that the content of the tattoos are not too risque, too sexual, too violent, bloody, gory, that sort of thing. The odd skull here and there. I mean, that's some visual imagery, and in some cases that can be cultural heritage. But just aside from the content of the tattoos, just the fact that someone has tattoos is no longer really a deal breaker. So that's good news for those of you who are looking to get tattoos, and maybe your parents or your grandmother's like, oh, you'll never get a job with tattoo. That's not the case anymore. It's just not. You want to be careful what you put on your body. Don't get certain kinds of imagery that's too offensive, where if somebody sees it, it's like, oh no, that's not okay. But just the simple fact of having art on your body is not that big a deal. But I want to give a few shout outs here. So see if I can get this right. So where I'm going today is actually, let me get to him in just a second. So I'm heading over this afternoon to Zebra, and in the Bay Area. They got a couple shops in the Bay Area. Really great place. I love this place. I've gotten a few. My wife's gotten a couple piercings here. We've got service over the years, and then of course I got my first tattoo here at Zebra. A little on the pricey side, but it's one of those things like it's going to be on your body forever. So you don't really want to cheap out on tattoos. That's my opinion. Your mileage may vary. And so the guy who did my my arm last year was Marcus. And he does a lot of really good black and white work, but he also gets some color in there too. And then you can check out his Instagram. He's got Instagram he keeps updated. Really, really awesome, amazing stuff. Oh, hey, look, that looks familiar. There, that's when it was freshly done. So, anywho, yeah, check him out on Instagram as Marcus. And I went ahead and linked all 3 of these in the description below. So if you want to check those out, then just clicky, and there you go. So anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today. I got to start getting ready for class. It was good talking with you. And I'm so looking forward to this afternoon. Hopefully the appointment goes off fine. You know how things go sometimes. Sometimes appointments get missed. I'm still waiting on a delivery that was supposed to come like a week ago, and you know, things happen. But fingers crossed everything goes smoothly today. All right, guys, I will catch you tomorrow. And there it is. All right, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a good one.